And already the entertainment union has filed suit because Leach doesn't have his introduction song.
You knew it was coming.
He also doesn't have a microphone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They might like it pretty good when they don't have a microphone.
Piecing this thing together is weird.
Things are getting better all the time.
Given Leach the investigator with us, and like I said, he's complaining already because his intro song is not loaded into our computer system, but we'll try to get there. I can find it on my computer. The investigator is with us. Steve Bowers with you, and this is Blue Suede Trevor. Good morning.
Good morning, Steve. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. Kind of raggedy start. Where's the camera?
Camera
Right there. Oh,
we're all over.
Son.
We are all over.
And we got a camera over here, and so WNWS.com out there on the World Wide Web. You see us all over the universe. Well, in a certain section of the universe, at least in the Milky Way galaxy. And so that's where we are on this day. I'm talking about police and police-related issues and law enforcement-related issues. But first of all, let's go to Minneapolis Police Department. Changes to the city charter. What are they wanting to do?
Well, I guess Minneapolis is where they started the defund police thing after George Floyd's murder. What they've got now, they've actually got a piece of paper that they filed a resolution, and they're having, of course, as you might expect, a lot of controversy. A judge said, "Wait a minute, what you have filed, they're wanting to change the city charter."
Right.
He said, "What you filed, we can't tell exactly what it is that you're wanting to do.
Okay.
Rewrite it." Okay, and they're on some kind of a deadline that they've got to get it to the printer
Okay.
at a certain time to get it on the ballot. So they go back and they rewrite it, and here's what it says, okay? It says we're going to do away with the police department, okay?
Right.
And we're going to have a health-centered organization in its place
Right.
that deal with mental health and drug addiction and mentoring. And those are all great things. As a matter of fact, the mayor up there moved $8 million from the police department to that program last year. And now
they're actually proposing by city charter to do away with the police department.
Yes, sir. And then they're saying now we might put some police officers in this new thing, maybe. But the head of that organization would be reporting to the mayor and the city council. Would be run by 14 different people. And the chief up there finally spoke up and he said, "Look, this can't work." He said no law enforcement head could run an organization like this.
Okay, reporting to 15.
So, and what's happening, I'm kind of reading between the lines too, that maybe the judge is saying, you're trying to deceive people here, this and that. The city attorney has said, I don't know if this wording, the latest word is going to be correct. The judge may find us all in contempt. And I saw a really interesting thing this morning, Steve, right quick on this, on the news before I left. They interviewed this fellow, he's an African-American fellow, and he's got a podcast in Minneapolis.
Right.
And he's quoting a study they did up there. And they interviewed 14 people. I don't know how the question was phrased, but you're either for defunding the police and doing away with police and lightening prosecution and this and that, or you are against it. Out of 1,500 people, 45 people said they were for defunding the police, and 40 of those people were white.
So the expectation is this would not pass if it gets to the ballot.
Well, that's what you would think.
Okay,
That's what you would think.
So keep your eye on what's happening in Minneapolis.
Yes,
because it's actually going to a city charter. Meanwhile, San Francisco is paying select people not to get shot.
This is not, I asked David Woolfolk.
How do you get paid to not get shot?
Yeah, you got a select group. In other words, to get on this group, I'm assuming you have to have been in a shooting situation in the past.
Okay.
Or else you just send everybody $300 a month. Here's the deal. If you don't
get
this is
shot.
so crazy. If you don't shoot anybody.
Oh, if I don't shoot anybody.
Well, if you don't shoot anybody or get shot yourself.
Okay.
Every 30 days, San Francisco is going to send you $300. Now,
okay,
if you're really dedicated to this and a good person, you can go an extra step and actually have a job interview, okay, or get in a mentoring program, which I think mentoring programs are good,
right,
and you'll get an extra $200. And there's some other things.
How many people are in this group?
Well, they're just getting this started. They hope to
sign up. How many? How many can the city afford at $300?
Don't know, Steve. I don't know. It's so ridiculous. And how are you going to do it? How are you going to handle this? How are you going to handle this? If you got, who's going to testify?
If I get shot, I'm not going to report it.
Yeah, exactly. And you can't get anybody to testify against folks anyway, because they're scared. And one other thing I saw that I thought was kind of eye-catching. In their study, they said that in San Francisco last year, 12 groups were responsible for like 90% of the homicides
Okay,
used by
I
guns.
understand, because when you get into targeted, law enforcement and everything else, you get criticized for that, but you know the stats. I just wonder how many people they're contemplating putting on this list or in this group. That'd be fascinating.
What they said was they're hoping.
And how would you avoid, bias allegations and everything else? I mean, if you're gonna target it either way, right? If you target it for law enforcement, or if you target it for payment, it's like, are you saying that we're the people that are most likely to shoot and be shot,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
right?
Yeah, and what are you gonna,
Okay.
you gonna have people turning folks in? And for that matter, Steve,
He really got shot, he did shoot somebody.
$300 a month,
Okay.
that's not even a good dope deal,
Okay.
much less a burglary.
Well, I guess it depends on where you are, maybe.
You know,
Okay,
And
well,
I don't know, it's crazy. They're doing a similar thing in New York City.
Meanwhile, Los Angeles Police Department officers there, Jimmy Leach investigators with us, officers there have shot a man that was holding a lighter.
Yes, sir. He had a lighter and a knife. It apparently looked like a gun.
Like one of those extended lighters, like
Gosh, I guess.
like
I hadn't
used
seen a
with your
picture
grills
of
or something,
it.
or?
I hadn't seen a picture of it.
Okay.
They said a butane
It was a
lighter.
butane lighter.
And the call came in and said, there's this guy and he's threatening people and he's getting up in people's faces and it looks like he's got a gun.
Was he killed?
Killed it.
Okay.
And so the dispatcher, when the dispatcher called, the dispatcher did right, said, man with a gun, because you don't want to say, well, it might be a gun, might not, and get somebody killed.
Right.
Man with a gun, be
So
careful.
that's fair communication.
That's good communication.
Okay.
They approached the guy, put it down, but wouldn't do it, and finally, of course, they didn't know, they thought it was a gun, it looked like a gun according to
Okay.
what everybody says. And they shot him
Okay.
and had to neutralize the threat.
Okay. Jimmy Leach investigator that was in Los Angeles.
Right.
What is this 21-foot?
Okay, this is a big deal to me.
A 21-foot rule.
Okay, we were raised in this business, and it was amazing the first time I ever saw it. We were on the firing range. They said, okay, everybody unload your weapon.
All right.
And they would put a guy, we're gonna put him 21 feet or 7 yards, 21 feet away from you.
7 yards. Okay.
And when we say go, he's gonna charge you. We split up in prayer. He's gonna charge you, and you draw and point your weapon.
Okay.
You couldn't hardly do it. It
Is that
takes
right?
like the average time, in the study that they did on this, the average time was about 1.5 seconds to go 21 feet. Okay, and then this
Okay.
study, they got
That's
rid.
this guy from a standing start. He's not running already. Standing start.
Standing start,
He charges you, and he'll cover 7 yards in 1.5 seconds.
that's average,
Okay.
that's average.
Okay.
A good young man in shape will cover quicker than that. And we finally
All right,
got
so what is the purpose of that kind of training?
to show you, to wake you up,
To how quickly
to
somebody
how
can be
quick
on
this stuff can happen.
happen.
Now,
Okay.
understand, we're not talking about hitting somebody and disabling them. We're talking about getting your gun out and pointing it. And you can't
you don't
hardly
have-
do
you
it.
don't
We
have
finally
to.
got where we were holding the gun
Well,
down by our leg.
if you did, then he'd be right on you when you pull the gun up, right?
Exactly. And that they went on in this study and did
So
that.
the outcome of the training then is what, Jimmy? That you've got to act sooner, or if somebody was within this proximity,
Well-
you know that.
Well, what they're talking about now, they're saying 34 feet might be safe. Well, who's gonna have a conversation 34? Who's gonna have a conversation 21 feet apart?
Right, right.
And now they're starting to practice shooting while you move. That makes it a little better, especially if you're going backwards. It's hard enough to shoot and hit.
Okay.
They were saying in this study, when they got 34 feet, and they were charging people like I was talking about a while ago. Of course, everybody knows it's happening.
Right.
Okay, in this particular scenario, and 24% of the people were able to hit a silhouette target. Now, for those who don't know what I'm talking about, a silhouette target is shaped like a human body.
Okay.
Now,
How many of them? 21?
24%
24%
even hit
and hit the target.
even
at all.
hit it. The rest of them didn't even hit it. Now, that's not talking about putting somebody down. That's not talking about stopping them. That's just talking about hitting the target.
So, I want to make sure I understand what. All right. So once you sense this, then what do they tell you? Once you realize that somebody can be 7 yards, which is actually some distance, right? If they're close to that,
It's 21 feet.
but he can be there in a second and a half before you can draw a weapon. All right. So the outcome of that training is.
One thing is awareness. The main thing, that was the
But
main
if you're
thing.
standing and talking to somebody as close as we are right here, then I don't have
Well,
time
you
to
got.
call you.
I know one time we were. One
I'd have to
time.
be like Wyatt Earp or
Well,
something,
at one
right?
time they had us practicing, like I'm left-handed.
Right.
I would strike with my right hand as I pull my gun with my left to try to keep them off of me.
Okay.
And there's different ways to, like I said, they're talking about now moving sideways, moving backward, this and that. But the main thing is it's an hour to be aware.
Yeah.
Be aware of what's going on.
Okay.
And, you know, we think about a lot of times that multiple shots are fired.
Right.
It's not easy to hit folks, and it's not easy to get that gun out and shoot.
Okay.
You know, and you've gotta stop them.
Wow.
If you don't stop them, you haven't done any good.
This is WNWS FM Jackson, WTJS FM Alamo, whatever we do with the Talk of Jackson, West Tennessee, talking with Jimmy Leach. Before we get away, all right, well, one thing, congratulations, I guess, to Jody Pickens, the District Attorney General.
Yeah.
Successful, and City Council agreed to fund the continuation of a gang prosecutor, which they said had been a targeted and effective staff member in their office. They felt like.
Congratulations to everybody involved. That's something we need, man.
Because they focus, and they develop the contacts and everything else, and are alert to all that, and they felt it was a key step in public safety and law enforcement and all in this community. Well, as part of that criminal justice system, to have this prosecutor targeting gang activity within the city.
Really.
We've got the situation in Guantanamo. What's going on here with this?
Well, they're still trying to get people to trial. And, you know, the big thing
I
was
mean, this has been 20 years.
20 years. And they were saying if they'd been in the Southern District of New York, they'd had this done years ago. But
This is military.
it's military, and they're worried about, they say they're still worried about how the operations was done, letting people know how they were done and this and that.
Well, because they were waterboarded and whatever, right? So
Well, that's what they're talking, that's another thing.
there's nothing.
What I'm talking about now is letting people know how we operate against terrorists. In other words, how we got the information. This how.
Okay.
Now, what you're
So
talking about,
when you put them on trial, so to speak, it becomes public.
going through the due process of even getting to trial, discovery and this and that would
Okay.
let them know how we caught them.
Yeah.
Now, you're talking about the waterboarding and all that, the advanced interrogation techniques, and what happens.
Does that affect then admissibility of
Well,
stuff, or?
That's what they're arguing about, see,
Okay.
but see, like Khalid Sheikh Mohammed,
Right,
he confessed several times.
right.
And they're saying, well, once he confessed under coercion,
Right.
then he just said, well, I've already told it. So that shouldn't be let in because, you know, the freedom of
Wow.
poison's true, whatever. Poison
That,
fruit is
I had no
poison.
idea this was still going on after 20 years.
Yeah,
I
20
mean,
years, man.
when they talked about it this week.
And they're not even they ain't got a trial that
No,
since then.
no, not anything close. In fact, court hearings and whatever the other thing.
Yeah.
And of course, it just, wow, stunning. And of course, now we're talking about the release of documents having to do with Saudi Arabia.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then by the way, on January the 6th, they still have not found the person that placed those pipe bombs, and there's some new footage they're putting out there, trying to get some evidence. They upped the reward to $100,000.
They're saying it's new. Like I say, it kind of looked like more of the same stuff to me. But they're wearing a coat and a hood and all this. And
Right.
I don't know how they're going to identify the person.
Okay,
Somebody going to tell somebody something.
all
Which I will.
right, so we'll see. Jimmy Leach, the investigator. Tune in 9 o'clock Saturday morning.
101.5. We're moving to 101.5.
101.5 FM.
Not, we're looking at 2 or 3 different options for Saturday. Not sure
Right.
which one we're going to take yet,
Right.
so it'll be a surprise
Everybody
for
involved.
everybody.
Back on the air at 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
All the way to a conversation with Tom Scuteri. This is Blue Suede Forever.